Now, once again, I have to say the comedy in this episode of Golden Kamuy was absolutely incredible. From just the Escape King slipping in through the bars after dislocating his shoulder and making himself pretty greasy, that scene was just absolutely had to pause the episode and chuckle a bit. But then to see the wolf pop up behind our boy Sugimoto after having a piece of horse meat stuck to his face, just how they animated it was so basic, but it just left me laughing so damn much. I absolutely love just that subtlety in the comedy that isn't really supposed to be the focus, but it's in the background there. Absolutely love it. To then our girl, once again getting upset with miso, just that face was just like disgust and agony. But then to see her actually eat it and like it, and then Sugimoto basically having this state of bliss and being so thankful. The comedy was absolutely ridiculous this episode. It probably was the funniest episode to the series to date, with actually not being a comedy-focused episode. Absolutely bravo. But in terms of the actual episode, this was actually kind of the perfect storm. This series has been tiptoeing in a little bit here and there in terms of the cultural side, the hunting, the kind of history of the Ainu people, the main objective with the tattoos and basically the hidden treasure, but then also a lot of the comedy. And this episode pretty much had everything that we like about this series in the best possible episode you can think of. It really was the perfect storm. There's a lot of comedy, but it wasn't a comedy-focused episode. There was history, there was culture with the hunting and just learning more about different foods and how you can cook deer and things like that. But it actually was a very plot-focused episode, and I think this is where Golden Kamuy actually shines the most, is when it really does kind of bring all the elements that it's been using into one episode. And it's a hard balance to nail, but I think they absolutely nailed it. Just seeing the individual escape and how the brutality was portrayed, it was definitely a graphic episode, but it never was so overboard with the graphic nature that it made you think that it was just trying to be edgy or something like that. No, it actually, the violence in the show has actually had meaning and substance to it, which is something that I think a lot of anime, they don't really handle that well. I've even heard that there's been some censoring in this show, but I actually like how they're portraying the violence, how they're portraying the blood and the gore, because it actually does make this feel like this is a life or death situation, while not just trying to say, we're going to throw as much blood as possible at the viewer and hope that they just keep interested. The characters are great in this show. I think the comedy really does help elevate those kind of just more slice of life scenes, but also just the history behind this and the objective. Like the fact that we're not just going for the objective, getting the tattoos, getting the treasure, but we're also having the time to learn about the individual cultures between our main characters, having the side characters like the Escape King pop back up and hopefully will remain a main character, because I love his character ever since we first got introduced to him back in like episode 2 or 3 whenever he showed up there. I really like the dynamic between this cast. It's just incredibly entertaining. It's engaging. You laugh with them. You sometimes worry with them. Hell, there was a moment where you actually like, okay, Sugimoto did some badassery to escape, but he is tied up. If no one does come to get him, how is he going to get out of that? And I actually love the double team of basically the Escape King getting him out of there so he can just brutally kill one of the brothers and then use his guts to pretend that he's been kind of gutted. I absolutely love how this episode handled the action, the overall plot advancements. We get some of the next antagonists, I guess you could call them, and what they're going to be laying out for us. I actually love how this Grim Reaper guy basically was wearing the tattoos as like this undercoat there, and just the whole idea of burning his facility. Everything about this episode, it was just wild to say the least. There was so much going on, but I absolutely love it when, because this is really the first time I think we've had an episode where all the little elements, the comedy, the culture, just the overall history and just the idea of the objective of getting this gold kind of came together in one episode, and it didn't feel like anything was wrong. This really was the perfect episode for me because everything that it needed to do, I think it did. It had the action, it had the plot advancements, it had the comedy, it had everything that I personally wanted, and I know not every episode is going to be able to nail that perfect storm of having everything. Sometimes it's going to be more comedy focused, sometimes it's going to be more cultural focused, and sometimes it's going to be more plot focused. But to have episodes like this, especially around the halfway point, I think it's important to really show you that all these weird elements that you've seen, like sometimes you're like, am I watching a JoJo anime? And then sometimes you're like, okay, we're treasure hunting, and then, oh, we got this amazing cultural episode. I think it's important to also have those episodes that really establish that, hey, all these elements, it's not a disjointed mess. They are here for a reason, and sometimes they can come together in this perfect harmony and really establish a show that maybe it won't be your anime of the season, but it's not going to be something you're going to forget about when you enter the next season of anime. And this episode was great. It was very fun. It was energetic. It was insane. I love all the characters, even the antagonists like the Grim Reaper. Just there was so much emotion conveyed in this episode. It just left me smiling, having a good time. I'm always looking forward to more Golden Kamuy. But let me know your thoughts. Like, what did you think of this episode? What was your favorite moment? I'm sure some of that comedy is going to be a lot of people's favorite moments. But let me know what you're thinking of this episode and series right now. Let me know down in that comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like. And if you're new, also be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.